All right, good afternoon. It is May 3rd, 2022, and here's what we're looking at for today. Just a range day, and I believe what happened is these overnight highs and lows, you get this, let me turn this off. You get this midline, and I think we just made a measured move from the midline to the highs, and you can see that's where we turned down. So that's what I believe happened. Just a range day. Not a lot of great setups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I say were great setups, but other than that, I think these were aggressive. So I think 5 o'clock came somewhere in this uptrend. I think I'd probably be looking at this as like a double bottom. So the failure comes like right here, but not sure how I would feel about that because of how far away we are from the EMA. If you're looking at it as a double bottom, then the trend starts here. Yeah, I don't think you want to be taking that. And let's see how it would look if you're drawing it from here. Oh, that looks pretty good if you draw from there. So, yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to mark that aggressive because I would look at this as a double bottom. First entry, failed second entry. And they could have trapped. I mean, I wasn't watching this live, but they could have taken this higher, then went lower, stopped these people out. And I don't know, though. So we make that move up, and then we start trending down. This is like a correction, a channel of correction. It looks like you get this double top here. First entry, failed second entry long, and I like that. That looks like it's off the trend channel. The trend line, excuse me. So it also looks like it's also a second entry short. So here we don't get a setup for a second entry short. I mean, you might look at this lower high because the second entry works, and then you get this lower high, but that looks like it's like a 7-point bar. So 52, yeah, that's way too big. Way too much risk. Here you get what appears to be maybe a honestly, this looks like a range. This looks like a range right here. Let me color this. This looks like a range to me, so I mean, this looks like a range too. You can see that midline. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Some congestion at the lows. So I don't know. I don't think you would be taking that failure, but I mean, that does look like a failed second entry short. So I mean, I think if you go, I think you would go long above this. I mean, I think that looks pretty good. It's like a breakout pullback too. And then why would I mark this? I'm not too sure why I would mark this. Yeah, I don't know why. This lower high. Oh, okay. Yeah, no. That looks, because you could be looking at this like it's a break back into this congestion. I think that's what I was looking at probably. And it's a lower high, so there are reasons to think about that. And then we break lower and that fails, and you get a first failed second entry. It looks like it's off this channel. But look, it's congestive. So still aggressive, still an aggressive entry. Get a break. First failed second entry. This is a great entry. This is clearly we're moving up. We're still trying to probably test this high. I think this looks pretty good. but it is after a break in 2 legs to a new high. But there's room to these highs, so I like that. Then we form this congestion. We can't quite make it to the overnight highs. And nothing in here. Just we get this leg down, and then it goes up and down and up and down. So we don't know what's going on here just yet. You get a second entry and a higher low, so you might... I wouldn't take that because they're going into a double top right here, and we've been chopping back and forth, so I don't think you take that. I wouldn't be surprised if this was some sort of... This looks like a channel right here. So, well, I don't know what happened there. Did that just delete all of my drawings? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow. I don't know what just happened. I'm going to keep going. I'm not trying to sit here all day, but we test these overnight highs. I can't believe that just happened. And that's where we turn down. And you make this double top. First entry, the failure comes right here. That's too far. You're going into this level of support, and we get near the closing price from yesterday, and then we bounce. And let's see, first entry. Failure happens right here, so that's no good. You can't take that. I don't think you can take any of this. And it just rockets up, and this is a really strong move up. And I think that, yeah, that makes a new high. And you get a second entry right here. And only reason I'm marking this aggressive is because that looks like one move down to me. I wonder if something's happening with my mouse or something. And so that's how I feel. And so it gets you a scalp, but then it traps those people who came in too early. And this first entry failed, second entry. You got room to these highs. I think that looks pretty good. It's not off a trend line. That's what would have made it better. But I like this. We get a break of this leg of correction. Yeah. Nothing up here. Then you can see it starts to fail. You could probably, you know, this looks like really good price action. We got this leg up. And you get a break, and you get some flatter channel up to a new high. It's really like a spike in channel. It's probably from here. And yeah, I had it drawn something like this earlier too. So you get this, it's a break, and you get a first entry, failed second entry long. That looks pretty good. Because really it felt like a range day anyway. So that gets you good enough for a scalp. And then we have one more attempt, and that fails, and that's when everyone seemed to jump in. And this does look like a range down here, so there is a possibility that you would hop in on this if you got a good signal bar, first entry, second entry, but on mine it doesn't show up well. This kind of looks like a first entry, second entry. Nothing in here. This kind of looks like a range. Probably have it drawn like that. I don't think you can enter there. It's pretty congested. This is tempting, but it's hard to know what's going on here. This is too congested. This one, however, I like that. I like that. I'm going to mark that blue. That's a second entry, and because we're in a range, double, that's almost like you could argue for that to be a triple or quadruple test. So I like that. with just even to ride back to the EMA, but that turns out to be a really good move. And then you get this second entry right after that. So this one, I'd be a little more nervous. So let me mark that aggressive because I'd be looking at this like a range, but it's a failure and it's a second entry long. And really you might have, after this swing, you might have your range drawn, your highs drawn like that. Anyways, we come up here. I'm not too sure about like a failure right there because first entry failed, second entry. These are all dojis. It's just a little risky, but it is a failure. But then we start moving down. And I'm gonna draw it like that. And the you don't get a failure until way down here, so you can't take that. And you get a small break. But really I was looking at this as the break. But I did have my channel drawn like this, so the move down was just so strong that I felt like this was the actual break. So I was expecting a move to a new low. But first entry, second entry, unfortunately, this one didn't tick higher, or else you would have been able to get in on this move down. Then we come down here and you get a first entry, failed second entry. It's not like off of a channel. It's not off of a trend line, so that's the problem there. This was actually the midline right here. So we broke a little bit lower than the midline, came back up, tested it once, tried to go lower again. That looks pretty good, and honestly, I looked at this as like a new low. First entry, failed second entry, so I think you can take either of those. Those look pretty good, even though I typically don't like them this far from the EMA. Those look pretty good. And I was looking at this first entry, second entry right here, but this ticked higher than this swing, and so I think that's telling you something. And the lower, higher low right here, I actually took this, and it scalps you out, but that's it. But this is like a spike and channel up, actually. You can see that. And you get a second entry right here, too. And you get this range, this shorter term range in the uptrend. We break out and it fails, and this is probably okay. So that doesn't really play any role after that. Usually it does, but didn't there. Doesn't look like. You get a second entry here. That looks tempting. Oof. That looks tempting. It's hard to say. I mean, that's really tempting to me. And so I'd be looking at this for a second entry. Absolutely. And it's a failure as well. So let's see. Did it work? 71. Yeah, that works, right? If I was watching this live, I would have a lot of trouble not taking that. But look at that. That's actually congestion. 71. Yeah. So you scalp out here, but those are all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars that are all inside this bar. So that's some useful information. And here's where it looks like a bigger move here. We get a break of this potential channel. Actually, that's confirmed channel at that point. But now we're into the after hours. So that's what I saw today. And I hope everyone had a good day. That was probably a little longer than I would have liked it, but my chart ruined the drawings. That was pretty weird. So God bless. Hope you have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow.